Hello and welcome to this flipped preview video for English 7. We're going over a grammar topic. Specifically, we're going to cover adjective and adverb phrases. This is Mrs. Alexander. Let's get started. All right, so our learning objective for this flipped preview video. Here's our agenda for this video. First, we are reviewing the basic parts of speech. Second, we are distinguishing between phrases and clauses. And third, we are learning about adjective and adverb phrases and clauses. All right, how to watch a flipped preview video. So I really encourage you to have something to write with, a notebook, or if you take notes on your computer or an iPad or a tablet, something where you can take notes over this content. I would like you to watch these flipped preview videos. Feel free to pause them at any time, rewind them, and rewatch. Remember, take notes during the video. There usually is a survey that goes with the video to check for your knowledge and understanding. And lastly, attend live Class Connect sessions, the flipped follow-up sessions, to further this topic in practice. Okay, so when it comes to grammar, we need to understand the basic parts of speech. We have to go back to the basics. Whether you feel super confident with the basics or whether you really need help with the basics, it's important to really review these almost every time we jump into a more complex part of grammar. So it's important to understand these simple parts of speech, the simple parts of grammar, before jumping into things like adjective and adverb phrases and clauses. Okay, so this is where your notebook would really come in handy. Our flipped preview videos carry a lot of content and information, and then our live sessions follow that up. So it's important to get all that information into your brain, into your knowledge, so that way when you attend our live sessions, you already have this background information. All right, so nouns. On the left-hand side here, a noun is a word that names a person, place, concept, or object. Basically, anything that names a thing is a noun. There are common and proper nouns. We can talk about singular and plural nouns, but really, let's just remember that a noun names a person, place, or thing. So I've listed some common nouns here, like basketball, table, cup, and then I showed you some proper nouns, like LeBron James or Starbucks, New York City. Now look at those proper nouns. What do you notice the difference between the proper nouns and the common nouns? If you saw that there was a capital letter at the beginning of the proper nouns and not in the common nouns, that's correct. Proper nouns are proper. They're more detailed. So they're naming something in greater detail. So you need a capital letter for proper nouns. Okay, in this middle column here, we have pronouns. Pronouns are the words you substitute for specific nouns when the reader or listener knows which specific noun you're referring to. So instead of Jessica, you could use a pronoun like she or her. There's a lot of other different pronouns, but think of pronouns as substitutions for nouns. And on the right-hand column, we have adjectives. Adjectives are the words that describe nouns. Think about your favorite place. How would you describe it to a friend who's never seen it before? You might use words like magical, bright, warm. And notice that I have stars next to this part of speech. That's because this is one of the concepts that you really need to understand in order to understand adjective phrases and adverb clauses, and adjective clauses and adverb phrases. All right, and remember, you can pause this video at any time. Definitions and examples. Verbs. Verbs are words that describe specific actions like running, winning, and being amazing. There are many types of verbs, and not all of them show action. So this whole slide is dedicated to the different types of verbs. We have linking verbs along with action verbs, and that's in the middle column here. A linking verb connects the subject of a sentence with a word that gives information about the subject, such as a condition of it or relationship. Linking verbs do not show any action. They simply link the subject with the rest of the sentence. Example. Excuse me. Act appear, grow, seem, become, get, went, will be. There will be a download list available to you with more of the linking verbs. Then we have auxiliary verbs. These are also known as helping verbs. A helping verb is a verb that adds functional or grammatical meaning to the clause. Now, we haven't gone over clauses yet, but these are lists that I always suggest my students memorize. If you can memorize linking verbs, the list that goes under them, and helping verbs, it'll help you to easily identify and distinguish them in a sentence. So we have shall, will, should, would, may, might, must, can, and I'm not going to read the whole thing. But these are verbs that you should maybe come up with a way to memorize or just a way to identify that these are helping verbs. All right, and now we have adverbs. On the left-hand column here, notice this is starred because these are words that you really need to understand for the rest of this lesson. Adverbs. An adverb is a word that describes an adjective, a verb, or another adverb. Take a look at these examples. Here's an example. I entered the room quietly. Quietly is describing how you entered the room. So adverbs describe verbs. Adjectives, if you remember from a few slides ago, describe what? Nouns. Adverbs describe verbs. Adjectives describe nouns. Here's another example. A cheetah is always faster than a lion. Always in this sentence is describing how frequently a cheetah is faster than a lion. Prepositions. Prepositions tell you the relationship between the other words in a sentence. Notice this is starred because you need to understand prepositions and prepositional phrases in order to understand adverb and adjective phrases. Here's an example. I left my bike leaning against the garage. In this sentence, against is the preposition because it tells us where I left my bike. Need another example? She put the pizza in the oven. Without the preposition in, we don't know where the pizza is. So prepositions give us an idea of where something is or a relationship between two words in a sentence. And then we have articles. Articles describe nouns. A, the, an. These are words that you often will see before a noun. All right, so how are you feeling so far? How are you feeling so far? Do you need to pause and rewind the video to review the parts of speech and add to your notes? Are you ready to keep going? We have a little bit more left to go over in this flipped preview video. Okay, so let's practice identifying the parts of speech. So let's say I had this sentence written on the whiteboard. Jessica went home after the game. Well, Jessica is the noun. It's the proper noun of the sentence. And it actually is also the subject of the sentence. It's who the sentence is about. So when we ask for the subject of the sentence, we're asking who or what the sentence is about. The sentence is about Jessica. And what did she do? Well, she went home. So went is a verb. It's an action verb. And went is actually the past tense of what word? If you said go, you're correct. Home is also a noun. And after the game is a prepositional phrase. So we just talked about prepositions. Remember, they explain a relationship between words in the sentence. So when did she go home? After the game. So if we can memorize our list of prepositions, we can often find the prepositional phrase. By locating the preposition, which I have my list memorized, I know after is a preposition. A preposition is followed by usually a noun. So after the game, and we'll talk about this later, that would be called the object of the preposition. It's what the preposition is explaining. Okay, so if you still need more help with practicing identifying the basic parts of speech, we will do that in our next live class. But now it's time to dive a little deeper. So let's now talk about and distinguish the differences between phrases and clauses. This is a very important concept to understand for English 7. Okay, so I hope your notes are out. Phrases do not contain a subject and a verb. So we just talked about subjects. Those are nouns. It's what or who the sentence is about. And verbs. So when we're talking about a group of words that do not have a subject and a verb, it's going to be a phrase. Phrases do not express a complete thought, and phrases can never stand alone, meaning they can't be its own sentence because it's not a complete thought, and a sentence is a complete thought. Now we have clauses. What's the difference? Well, a clause contains a subject and a verb. So if it just has one, it's probably a phrase. But if it has a subject and a verb, it's called a clause. We'll talk about independent and dependent clauses a little later on in this semester. Clauses can sometimes express a complete thought, and clauses can be independent, which means that they can stand alone as its own sentence. Notice the similarity is both phrases and clauses are groups of words. So when we're talking about phrases and clauses, we're talking about groups of words. One of them does not have a subject and a verb. That would be a phrase. And one of them does have a subject and a verb. That would be a clause. Okay, now again, we're talking a little bit more about adjective phrases. So when you need to pick out an adjective phrase in the sentence, look for the noun first. Identify who or what the sentence is about. That would be your subject. And then use that to help you find the adjective phrase. Here's an example. After looking around for months, I finally found an affordable yet reliable used truck. Okay, so there are two nouns in the sentence above. The speaker, which is not mentioned. You could say I is the speaker, and the truck. Next, after I located the nouns, I'm going to look for adjectives, which remember are describing words. The words that modify the noun or describe the nouns. So in the sentence above, there's only one noun that has describing words with it, which is a used and reliable truck. So if you look a little closer, the phrase reliable used truck is an adjective phrase because it describes the details about the truck. Now in your lessons for English 7, it's going to talk about identifying adjective participial phrases. Adjective prepositional phrases. That means that we're looking for prepositional phrases that are functioning as adjective phrases, which means they're prepositional phrases describing the nouns in the sentence. So here is what you will see in your lessons. You'll be asked to find the adjectival prepositional phrase. So what you want to do is you want to be able to locate the preposition in the sentence, then find the adjective phrase that follows. There are practice questions in your lessons, and we will go over more practice questions in our live session on identifying adjective phrases. All right, now let's talk about an adverb clause. An adverb clause, this is almost the end of the video. So if you're feeling a little tired, pause it, come back, or stick around for maybe 2 more minutes as we finish up this flipped preview video. An adverb clause is a group of words that together functions as an adverb. This means that the clause describes or modifies a verb. Unlike other types of clauses, an adverbial clause is always a dependent clause. This means that it cannot stand on its own as an independent sentence. Now, this might be a lot and you're feeling a little confused, and that's okay if you are. That just means I highly recommend coming to our live class where we're going to take these concepts further and hopefully leaving our live class mastering adjective and adverb phrases and clauses. Okay, and remember the difference between clauses. If it's an adverb phrase, it's not going to have a subject and a verb. If it's an adverb clause, remember it will. All right, and next, adverb clauses, explain. Adverb clauses explains where. We're staying at the hotel where the spa is located. Adverb clauses explains when. After the chores are done, we will eat ice cream. Adverb clauses explains why. He eats vegetables in order to stay healthy. And adverb clauses explain how. Unless you hurry, you will be late. Now you'll notice adverb clauses always start with a subordinating conjunction. This is, again, one of those lists that I would highly recommend you memorizing. You'll notice that some words on this list are found in another list, your preposition list, like after. After the game is a prepositional phrase. If I had my preposition list memorized, I would know after is one of those words that's describing a relationship between words in a sentence. You'll also notice that after is a subordinating conjunction found on this list. All of these lists and things and terms are very important to memorize for understanding grammatical terms and skills for English class. Okay, well, we made it to the end, and this video is a little longer than my typical flipped preview video, which is usually about 10 minutes. But it was really important for us to understand the basic parts of speech. So remember, in this video, we reviewed the basic parts of speech, such as pronouns, adjectives, adverbs, prepositions, conjunctions, and articles. We also understood the difference between clauses and phrases. We reviewed what the difference between those groups of words are. We learned how to identify adjective phrases. Remember, first you want to find the noun and then look for a describing word or group of words and a preposition that goes with that. And lastly, we learned how to identify adverb clauses. Remember, they start with subordinating conjunctions and modify the verb in the sentence. All right, and so here are our next steps. Look for the flipped follow-up session in your Class Connect schedule that goes along with this flipped preview video. Our flipped follow-up sessions are this year, Wednesdays at 2 p.m. The live session will allow us to carry out the concept further and practice applying our learning from this video. And if you need extra support, you can always attend English Help Labs or reach out to me via email. Well, this was Mrs. Alexander. Thanks for watching another Flipped Preview video. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!